One of our most popular programs in 2014 was our expose of Common Core in our public schools with attorney Marjorie Wholesome. She's battled this government program for years. Common Core is indoctrination on steroids, and it's training kids to be good little global citizens, but it's ruining education. It's huge government overreach. It will teach that our founding fathers were racists, conservatives are dangerous. Blatant pornography is a part of some of the curriculum. Here's just a short segment of that program. Well, let's explain a little bit more what it is, because it's standardized education across America. It's one size fits all.
Yeah.
It's nationalized, uniform style of education. Kids will learn the same content in the same manner. And critics state that this has come about due to the influence of progressivism. There's progressivism on both sides of the aisle. It's a view of education that would exclude parents and educators who have chosen homeschooling, private schooling, other forms of educational choice. I want to play a short 3-minute soundbite. They're giving the warnings here. They're giving an outline of what's really wrong with Common Core.
This is a set of nationalized, one-size-fits-all educational standards.
Written behind closed doors with little or no input from educators.
Sadly, as with everything else this big government has done over the last few years, the more people know about it, the more the uproar.
Those who want centralized education, like Arne Duncan and Bill Gates, realize that attempts to federalize education in the past have failed.
People are against this because once they find out what's in it, they realize it's huge government overreach and socialism.
There are many reasons to oppose this. The primary reason most will give is the lack of control.
Educational control is being taken away from local school boards and individual moms and dads.
The intrusive nature of the program includes indoctrination through the curriculum, teaching students what to think. They are not about education. They are about control.
Education is freedom, and this program takes freedom away from education.
President Obama laid out the long-term plans for this program in his State of the Union address in January of 2013. He touted the German style of education. This ensures a lifetime of control for each and every American.
The long-term plans include intermingling all the different tentacles of big government, from the NSA program to Obamacare to this really bad educational idea.
These standards need to be in place quickly and quietly, because like Obamacare, once people find out what they're all about, there will be a great uproar.
It's largely underreported, plus there are so many other big government programs to worry about that this isn't even on people's radar screen. And that's the way this administration likes it.
Dr. Sandra Stotsky and Dr. James Milgram, two educational experts who served on the validation committee, refused to sign off on these standards, finding them subpar.
This program will actually lower standards in public schools because it lowers our expectations and the ambitions of our kids.
My studies of these standards indicate that they are designed to teach students what to think and not how to think.
Much like Obamacare, there's nowhere to run from this program. Everyone's going to be impacted somehow.
Absolutely no one is exempt. This includes private school students and homeschool students.
If you join me late, you are listening to Understanding the Times Radio. I'm Dan Markell. I have in the studio with me today Marjorie Wholesome, who has been speaking out against this program known as Common Core. And Marge Wholesome, I heard a number of things here. I heard this again. This is government overreach. This is socialism, intrusive, indoctrination, takes freedom away from education, and an uproar will come. I heard that it's lowering the standards, as they said. It's no one is going to be exempt. There's nowhere to hide. I mean, this kind of blowing my mind, what I just heard.
Yes, it is going to affect everybody because now the ACT, SAT tests are being Common Core aligned. I homeschooled my children to get them away from indoctrination curriculum. But if a homeschool student doesn't learn that they are the cause of global warming, which is the indoctrination going on in many of the public schools, they're not going to correctly answer that question on the SAT, and they're not going to be able to get into colleges. So that's how homeschoolers are being affected. Many private schools are actually choosing to adopt Common Core, and they have stated, I've argued with many of them, and they say, well, the parents want these high standards. And, number one, no, they don't. But number two, as soon as you explain to the parents these standards are dramatically lower than the standards most states had in place before, parents do not want these standards. We had the problem before where many schools, many students were failing. So if they can't get over a bar that's 5 feet high, when you reduce that bar down to 2 feet high, everybody can get over it. And that's what's going on with Common Core.
Am I right when I said, and you indicated that I was earlier, that 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders are going to read a book about Barack Obama being the son of promised child of President Obama as Messiah? Again, indoctrination, indoctrination, indoctrination. Was I right there?
You are right. That is being read in different schools.
2nd graders are probably going to read about Cesar Chavez, as though 7-year-olds know anything about Cesar Chavez. 6th graders are going to read about Industrial Revolution, child labor. You just indicated that global warming is going to be a major part of the agenda.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so many of these, when you read these reading lists, they are designed not only to indoctrinate, but to also create in children an absolute hatred of reading.
The liberal bias seems to be what comes out at me, and the fact that conservatives and probably Christians are going to be seen as the mortal enemy, dangerous, whatever. I heard someone say that our founding fathers are probably going to be labeled as racist. The early settlers of America were the persecutors of the indigenous people. And again, conservatives would be probably painted as a dangerous category of people.
Oh, yeah. In the new
Nothing
social
new.
studies standard 1620, instead of the year that pilgrims came to America for freedom of religion, 1620 is the year that indigenous populations began to be suppressed. That's the history children are now going to be learning under the Common Core standards.